Welcome to my art journal. I'm Roger Snell. I call this one my painting pal, and it's episode 20. And real joy is being able to go out painting with your little granddaughter who had the choice of going to the playground with Rachel and Linda and her little sister Ruby, or hiking back a short little trail to a creek in Indiana. Rachel wanted to show us two of her favorite parks where she thought I could find a good place to paint. And so on the first day, Isabel, went with me, brought her colored markers and her colored pencils and her paper. And she was already at my feet on the ground, coloring away, drawing away from scratch, while I was still setting up my tripod and paint box and all of that. And what was such a great joy is that she stayed with me an entire hour, painted for a full hour, and so did she. And just a great experience. And here was the result of the scene, this little creek in Indiana. And it was a little over a year ago, in October of 2019, when we painted that scene. And the greatest thing of all, the next day, Izzy had seen that I had all of my paints and my tripod and everything all at one backpack. And that's how I carried everything to that first day of painting. Well, before we left the house, and she knew we were going to go to another park and going to be painting again, she told her mom she had to have her backpack. And so she loaded her colored pencils and markers and paper into her backpack and went hiking along with me along this lake. The weather was just gorgeous. It was just perfect. And we hiked back to a picnic table where we both took off our backpacks and settled down to work. The name of this park is Fort Harrison, and it's a state park. Both of the parks are in Indianapolis, real close to where Rachel lives. And so here's the result of that painting. Along the lake, and the fall colors are just getting started, just starting to show up. So this is episode 20 of my art journal and my journey with art, and it really began in earnest after some pretty catastrophic health issues in April 2017, when 3 different doctors sent me home to a hospital bed at home in a wheelchair, and the diagnosis, they had a chemistry problem they couldn't solve. Well, I got a second chance and ended up with more time than I ever would have thought possible. And I've used that time wisely, throwing myself into art. I'd always loved art. I dabbled in it over the years, but have really gotten into it in earnest since that scare, and since what I thought was going to be an early departure. And for me, art is celebrating the beauty of this life. And when you have a second chance, there's a lot of beauty to be found. And my painting pal, Izzy, on these 2 little outings, that's joy. You don't even have to paint it. You just see it with her wanting to have her little backpack and go with Grandpa. And I love that little girl, and being a grandparent is the best title of all. And now there's little Ruby, and Starlight was born 1 month after these paintings. Rachel was in her final month of pregnancy when she showed us around to her favorite parks. And so Starlight came along later. And so I've done portraits of Izzy and Ruby, and now my next portrait it's going to have to be of starlight, and I love this particular photo to work from. On that first day, I got this photo of Linda leading Ruby up the creek embankment, and they're climbing tree roots to get up that embankment. And this is a little 5x7 that I did from that photo. And when I thought I wasn't going to have much time and that Izzy might not get to see her grandpa when she grew up, I actually wrote this book, Love Grandpa, and there you see rock star Izzy in the back of the wagon and me pushing forward out of the wheelchair into the canes and trying as hard as I could to fight my way back. And so Love Grandpa was my love letter to Izzy. This is before Ruby was born, in case she didn't really remember her grandpa or I wasn't around when she grew up. So life's pretty joyful. Life's pretty happy to have this opportunity. And there's one of my favorite pictures of Izzy and me reading to her, and I just love that photo. We put it on the back of the book. So anyway, thanks for joining me on my art journey. This journal tracks my progress step by step as I learn and grow, and I hope there's some inspirational things that will encourage you to put your creative talents to work. Thanks for joining. Please click like or subscribe. It helps this video to reach even more people. Thanks for watching.